When you buy stuff from the grocery store, you're actually not getting it fresh. They pick it weeks before it's actually ready and they deliver it. So by the time you even get it, it's probably either going to be fresh and at its ready stage or it's past it.
All right, well, I have Jason and Rebecca Trodden here on the Carla Rand Show, and I'm excited to have you guys because I've kind of got to know you through the gym and then also through Little Gems Farms, which is where you grow produce, right? Things that we can eat, so not flowers, but it's a greenhouse so that we can eat and be healthy, which is what I'm all about because I'm a nutrition coach. But before we talk about what you guys do, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? So where did you grow up?
I'm from Pinch Creek, Alberta. Grew up down there, moved around Alberta and BC for a while, and finally we ended up here. I met Rebecca, I guess, in Calgary.
Cool.
I'm from Edmonton. We moved a little bit around into Alberta and BC a little bit, and then we finally landed in Red Deer area. And then eventually I ended up in Calgary, and that's how we met.
Cool. Right on. Mm-hmm. So now you have a family. So tell us a little bit about your kids. How many kids do you have? And tell us a little bit about each one.
We have 4.
Yeah, so Lucas is our oldest boy. He's 12. He's going to be a chef, I think, because he can taste all the flavors and everything.
Nice.
And we got Wyatt. He's my little artist. He likes to build things and make things and just has fun.
He's very crafty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you got Caleb, my little jokester. Everything's funny to him. Everything. Yeah. And there's not a ticklish spot on his body. He's everywhere. You just touch him, he's losing his mind.
He's very much an outdoorsy boy, though.
Yeah.
Anything to do with outdoors.
And then my wild child, my daughter. She's got daddy wrapped.
She's a mix between a tomboy and a girly girl. She likes a little bit of both.
Yeah. She wants to do her makeup, but then she wants to go kick somebody's butt outside. So yeah.
Right, yeah.
Beat her brothers up on the trampoline or...
Well, it's tough when you're the youngest because in my family, my daughter's the oldest, right? So she can kind of raise... Like, it's actually been handy because when my kids were little, right? It's like, oh, can you help this kid with that? And I remember one time while you're outside and I was, I don't know, cutting grass or whatever. And I come in and she's like, yeah, Logan went on the potty, but it's all good. And like, she was only 4 and she had him like wiped up, cleaned up. Everything was good. And she was just telling me how she'd handle it all. And I'm like, whoa, like I was expecting this huge mess. So it's kind of handy having a girl first. But also if you have a little girl, it's probably like, did she get spoiled?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Never.
The boys spoil her, especially. I would say that they've always been protective of her because it's always been their little sister. But I would say she definitely has.
Yeah, she wants her daddy-daughter days. So we used to, before
she likes her pedicure days with dad.
Yeah, so we go into this little princess chair she gets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she has a lot of fun. And white cord. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, they do the royal treatment. Like they do the whole.
Well, they pamper her.
Oh, they totally.
Oh, wow. I'll have to go there sometime.
Kim's, I think it's called.
I don't remember. I don't know if I've actually gone. They normally go.
Yeah, it's a daddy-daughter thing.
It's a daddy-daughter.
Sweet. So tell me about Little Gems Farms then. Tell me, like, how did you come up with that? When did you start that?
The whole start of it was we got hailed out a couple of years ago. And I had progressively gotten bigger with the gardening, and after getting hailed out, I just had it, lost it, snapshot, and was like, greenhouse it is. So we started into that about 4 years ago. That would have been 4 summers already ago. Oh, time flies. And so we kind of just started, it takes a long time with greenhouses to plan them. There's even more details than a typical like building of a house. Wow. So it's not like you just go out and buy a greenhouse. It's not quite like that. It's quite geared to what you're doing. And the sky's the limit on what you can do with them and what the options are and what everything. So it took us about 2 years to research. So we got into the research and we started touring all over Alberta, all over BC with different greenhouses. Jay went to Vancouver Island and Vancouver area, toured like 4 or 5 of them. Looked at different grow options, different structures, the way they were set up, the different operations and stuff. We toured all the way down to Lethbridge and down into the pass and into all those greenhouses from literally all over Alberta. And we knew because we were the northern climate that it was important for us to have certain key fundamentals, especially for winters that are longer and a little bit darker. Also with the really, really cold snaps that happen for long periods. I mean, this winter is no exception. It's kind of the key element. It was 6 weeks of -40. Mm-hmm. So that's where our greenhouse has to be able to withstand those temperatures and the snowfall. It has to withstand.
Does the greenhouse run like all year, or part of it run all year?
All year. We would have had the greenhouse had a couple of whoops within our first winter with
learning curves.
Yeah. We call them learning curves because really it's there hasn't been a fully operational greenhouse in the area for a long time, so there's no historical data on winter growing here.
Right.
So we did a lot of research and development onto that aspect. And there's a lot of newer technologies within the industry. Part of the thing, though, is that we are quite a bit north, so you have to really look at those. We've got maybe, I believe, about 120 growing season days, growing season. So that's one of the key things is we look at how much sun you have, how much the temperatures are, how much snow, because a greenhouse has to withstand a lot of snow if it's not heated. However, ours is heated. So then we looked at, are we able to withstand, which this year was a great year to test it with heating and the snow load, because we got probably 24 inches. I think we got even more.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be incorrect on that.
We had a decent amount of snow this year, hey? Like, I feel like it just snowed all the time.
It seemed like as soon as it got even a little bit warm, then it would snow. And we're like, seriously? So we go really cold and then really snowy, and then and then we go right back to cold. It was just one of those winters that it was a good test pilot for
we maintain 12 degrees all winter in the greenhouse.
Okay, 12 degrees. Do you have lights in there?
We have grow lights. They're not fully up. They've been installed. I don't need them during the summer right now, so we were going to hold off and just put them up.
Get them ready
into the summer months.
Okay.
And then for the most part, it's with the snow this year, there's been a couple of learning curves.
So what's your job? So what's your role with the greenhouse and what's your role with the greenhouse?
I do most things because he's still working full time. So he runs right into the oil field still full time. So right now I've been more full time with the kids and we do all of it. We start the seeds, we put them in. And then in the next month, I'll transition also into getting the fields ready for all the market gardening type produce. And we do the CSA boxes. So we can do
CSA boxes. What's that?
So they're community supported agricultural boxes. So what happens is it's about, the simplest layman terms would be that it's a box of produce that I can distribute weekly or bi-weekly so that people can get their veggies without having to go to the grocery market.
And I was going to do that. Yeah, I was going to have you, because it's basically like
delivered. It's
like HelloFresh or whatever, only it's not with all the containers and stuff, but it's basically like, here's your box, like people do with meat all the time, right? Grass-fed beef or whatever. Yeah.
The HelloFresh is with herbs and meats and then potentially seasonings. I don't do the meal prep. I just provide the veggies. Mm-hmm. However, I have a private Facebook group for us and we do meals, and I do target to grow certain things so that we can encounter and discover and learn different meals and veggies and all of this. Turnips was last year. We had a lot of people that I'd never tried turnips, so I started growing them and they were such a hit. They've been so popular.
I like turnips. Not everybody does. Not all my kids do, but I love them.
We found a variety that is a huge knock out of the park. It's been flavorful, delicious, crunchy. It's great with any meal. So
doesn't have that woody taste either. It's really nice and fresh.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between say if I was going to get one of the boxes that you provide versus just going to the grocery store and buying my own stuff there? What would be the difference?
The freshness is going to be the biggest, because when you buy stuff from the grocery store, you're actually not getting it fresh. They pick it weeks before it's actually ready and they deliver it. So by the time you even get it, it's probably either going to be fresh in that it's ready stage or it's past it.
and we don't spray chemicals. So that's how you get the chemical taste on the carrots. Like
some of those carrots you get at the grocery store. Oh my goodness, they don't even taste like a carrot. I'm just like, what is this? It does not taste like a carrot. It tastes like a chemical, whatever the heck.
So carrots are one of the key root vegetables that if they're grown with any soil that has had chemicals or has previously been sprayed, they will absorb the chemicals.
Well,
so if it is the number one vegetable that will suck up all of the chemicals in the ground. So it's so telltale between a fresh garden carrot and a store-bought carrot.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like I remember
even the organic ones this winter were really rough.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's no spray. It's fresher. And I've got microgreens from you guys, and I actually did share them with some friends. And so I just had a bag at the gym, and after the class, I'm like, here, have some. So they're just kind of reaching in and eating them. And they're all like, they're so good. They're so good. And my kids, like even my one son who he has a texture issue. He can't stand vegetables, which is such a pain. I'm like, but even he was actually like enjoying them. And I think what you said, they're fresh. Like, it's just like going out in the garden and grabbing it rather than like having it sit. Yeah. And also I forgot a bag at the back of the fridge, I think because it was in this grocery bag. So I thought I'd eaten them all and I hadn't. And so 2 weeks later, I look and I'm like, clean out the fridge and I'm like, this is here.
Good.
They're still totally fine.
That's what we discovered recently is that, we get a lot of actual people that say the vegetables last longer in the fridge. And one of the key elements to that is the fact that it's picked and it's delivered within maybe a day, or two. Even if within that week, it's not shipped. Mm-hmm. The shipping amount of time that vegetables are actually shipped is quite substantial if people really knew that. Because even by the time that they're picked, it takes about a week to get onto the trucks and shipped to the grocery stores. Minimum. Some are months. Some are within a month. So this is, you get it within the week and it's still fresh. So
and that's why I'm so interested in it, because as a nutrition coach, I'm always telling people, okay, what do you eat? So most people that want to work with me, they want to lose weight, they want to tone, get fit, whatever. So most of those people, they're going to be looking for lean protein and veggies. Those are the main components. So yes, we have like, whole grain, bread, rice, whatever, like depending on the individual, but those are the big things. Mm-hmm. So if they can get fresh veggies that they actually enjoy, boom.
And we took it out of, we kind of went in a new direction too this year, is definitely doing delivery boxes. We noticed that some people weren't interested, or the times to meet up for our boxes didn't really work. So we're like, you know what, just give us a central location of where you are within the town limits and we'll drop them off. Yeah. So the freshness even got fresher because now you don't have to try to meet up with me or come to the farm.
You don't have to wait a week or
Yeah, a couple clients have even said to us, we've made it so easy for them to make the choice to buy our boxes.
And the boxes are allowing them to try new vegetables, try things again that they may have enjoyed as a kid or maybe didn't like as a kid. And what happens is, because they're organic, there's a different taste. And they're organic and fresh to the degree that you literally went out and picked them in your garden.
Yeah, which is amazing. But that's just in the summer, right? You don't have all the carrots and everything all year. Like, what do you have all year? And then what do you have during the summer?
So the greenhouse is actually lots of the hot items, which is the cucumbers, the tomatoes, and that type of direction. The field would be a lot of the other carrots, turnips, lettuces, all of that. We have lettuce growing in the greenhouse right now. But with a heated greenhouse, we can control and climate control the temperature. So during the winter, we can still grow quite a bit. We're not going to grow cucumbers and tomatoes quite a bit because those still require quite a bit of temperature. So we're still going to be growing. We'll be growing turnips, carrots, lettuce, radish,
with
kohlrabi, potentially broccoli, that type of stuff during the winter. And we'll do, right now we can do about 100 boxes a week.
Holy, who packages them? That's Jason packages. Comes home from work, stays up all night.
The kids and I stay home. Last year they stayed home. Well, it was summer, so they were home and they were with us, and they.
This winter we will be trying though to leave some cucumbers and some tomatoes up because I want to see how my earth battery system is going to actually help sustain the temperature.
We looked at geothermal and it's just not feasible in the area, and it's quite a pricey price tag, and you can't guarantee you're going to even. Right. Like I said, we looked at a lot of winter heating options. We landed on the earth battery.
So the big thing is that people can come, they can get their produce, they can get it delivered. No, not delivered. Did you say delivered?
We do drop-offs. And
like an area,
we
yeah, so
don't
they
do
can just
farm
drive by.
visits. We don't do on-farm stuff, and we don't do greenhouse tours quite yet until we can quite stabilize and...
Why don't you do greenhouse tours?
Well, part of it's the biosecurity. So if you walk in with something that's on your shoes, or you touch something, and then the tomatoes, you touch my tomato plants,
yes,
or my cucumbers, they can get infected with stuff. So tomatoes, there's certain viruses, there's certain
well, it's just like with the cattle, like I was saying,
right?
You go to see somebody's cows, and they're like, "Can you dip your feet in here first?"
Right. So in typical greenhouses, like large greenhouses in the south, they ask you to cover your shoes. You have to wear shoe covers, and we haven't put some of those procedures in place. And until those are in place, and until we're kind of still in construction mode with some of the farm stuff. So, and we have quite a bit of mud and the odds and ends out and about. So it's like,
how big is a greenhouse?
We're 2,400 square feet.
Yeah, it's 25 by 96.
And what's your favorite part about it, Rebecca? What do you love to do when it comes to the greenhouse?
Stay in there.
I don't know. Like, do you like the weeding? Do you like the picking? Do you like the putting in boxes?
Simple. There's not a lot of weeding. I just run my tools kind of up and down the aisles or the beds, and then it's kind of like a 5-minute task.
So do you like it? Like, why are you into it though? Like, there's got to be something about it that you love.
I like discovering different vegetables, and I really geek out on different vegetables. I didn't realize how bad it was. I like fun varieties. If your food's not fun, then why eat it?
So fun varieties, and then try to get like
tastes good. It's like,
yeah.
So we had a lot of compliments last year based upon our tomatoes, for the reason that in the stores, when you buy a tomato, they have a hard core that's like white.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of that.
Oh, so you just eat the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
people can eat
literally
like...
cut it open, and we don't have any of that. We have...
And that's because you got creative with trying to find the right variety.
Well, I grow a lot of heirloom. Heirlooms they taste better. They have more flavor. They have the key fundamentals to what some of the grocery store stuff is lacking.
And that's exactly what you want to do. Because even if you had the same thing that the grocery stores have, well, that's nice. Maybe it tastes a little better. Maybe it's a little fresher. But if you have something that the grocery stores don't have, then it's like even more of a commodity. Yeah. It's like, oh, I want to get my hands on that one, you know?
Yeah, the one client actually said if we just sold tomatoes, he said we'd
sell out.
Yeah.
And we do. Tomatoes, we went in a bigger direction this year with our tomatoes. So we've gotten a lot of varieties.
A lot.
Yellow varieties. I've got orange varieties. I've
black
got
ones.
Black ones.
They're so black that
black
they're
tomatoes.
purple. It's
like
awesome. And they cut in and it's bright red.
But I have this like dream of all of these varieties of tomatoes. So it's been something that I've been into for a couple of years.
That's cool. And it's like if you try different things, like, because I'm thinking you get all the nutrition that you need for that week. It's like a multivitamin and then some all in a box.
Yeah, because the sooner you eat the vegetables after they're harvested, the better. The more nutrients there is.
Yes.
So 1 or 2 bites of microgreens that have just been harvested and delivered is more nutritious than the stuff that you're buying in the grocery store.
My kids were loving it. They were just eating it. I'm like, you guys, take it easy. You might get a gut ache. You know, don't eat all the microgreens in one.
You can eat whole bags.
No way.
Kids.
I can eat a whole bag.
Because I didn't get a gut ache, and I was eating quite a few, and I'm like, oh, I better be careful.
Sunflowers, it's probably, I discovered peas 2 years ago. Peas microgreens. Peas I discovered, that was one of my favorites. Sunflowers I've been eating for a while. Red clover is a really good one. We're adding a couple. I used to grow Swiss chard. Swiss chard. And I just was finding that the little shells of the seeds won't just come off. So I'm going to discontinue those. And then we're adding radishes and a couple of other ones.
Nice.
So we've got some new varieties coming.
Fun part though is she likes this. She'll make us taste it.
I like arugula. I like spicy stuff. So we've got some fun peppers this year too.
If we could videotape it.
That I can't even pick without gloves. That's how hot they are. So we just got given some seeds.
I like spice.
Oh, these are heat.
So we and this is what throws a bunch of people off, because when we make the boxes, we put all these, it's always a different harvest, right? Some things are always consistently the same, but there's always
I put a little bit of the generic lettuce and onions as the staples, because I find like
that's what people will eat a lot of.
And onions almost go with every meal.
Yeah.
So those are plentiful. I always just grow large amounts so that at all times people have them in their bins. Even if they don't eat them that week, they might eat them next week.
Yes.
Or they're good for storage. The other thing that we do with our boxes is I teach people how to store their food this year. I'm going to get a little bit more into that now that the greenhouse construction is done.
So here's your food, but here's a better way to store it.
We're going to get
have
into
extras,
storage, especially with how the economy is going and food shortages and the potential oncoming increases. We've talked to farmers, we've talked to many farmers, and we've heard a lot of what they're encountering before their plants are even in the ground, before they've even seeded the fields. And we've looked at our increases and we've looked at the economy and different aspects of it, and we've watched. And this year we're going to definitely step into utilizing your food to a degree that puts it into a long term for you. Save it for the winter, things to do with scraps, things to do with storage, how to store it, what's proper ways, different options. Because not everybody has a freezer space. Not everybody has canning stuff. Not everybody has. So we're going to bring about some of that options with our boxes this year.
That's cool.
Different ways to store it. Yeah.
So you can get this box and it basically has everything you need for what, a week?
Some people do bi-weekly, and they might be one or two people in their house. They find that the day can last for about 2 weeks. It works perfect for their household if it's only two people, and it totally lasts for that 2 full weeks.
We have the large boxes though that are bi-weekly as well.
And then we have large boxes. I've been doing custom boxes. There's been a couple of requests of custom size boxes, which is like your family, which is 8 people. We have another family of 6. We have another family of 4 that actually eat mostly just vegetables. So they're looking at potentially a double box for large. So we kind of can customize on that aspect.
I think it's good because it's like you go to the grocery store, you buy all this produce, and it's a lot of it's just garbage. Like I hate to say it, but like when you actually eat like those microgreens versus like this box of spinach or whatever that I got, and I'm like, this tastes like cardboard.
They're gross and they're soggy.
Yeah. It's just
to that. It's like you open it and you're like, you don't know when you go to grab it
what's even on it.
Well, and
we're kind of spoiled though, because like we just walk out and
I'm going to eat this. Yeah.
And we make our salad, right? And it's crisp, crunchy, just
fresh.
Our kids, like, they lose their mind eating.
Even the kids salads. Are ready because we had a tomato. We bought tomatoes from the grocery store the other day, and Kira was like, "Oh,
what is this?
Is this from our garden? Oh, tomato is so good." And everyone's, especially with the fact that it's been a longer winter with us here. Alberta definitely got some good colder weather this year, so it's like everyone's ready to be outside and gardening and in the soil and everything. So,
but besides the veggies, because you do the veggies, but you do some other stuff too. Tell us a little bit about what else you guys have.
So we got chickens and turkeys and honeybees. Yeah,
we got into actually the bees 4 years ago. We started with the interest of getting into mead. And I like the idea of bees so that we can support the planet and.
It's strictly to make honey wine, right? That's why I got them. But I got 250 pounds the first year. I'm like, well, I can't use all that.
So then we started selling it.
She started selling.
Saved some, and then honey lasts years.
Yeah.
So
we had it by the bucket full.
And then everyone was commenting how ours just tastes different. We get it all the time that ours just has a different flavor to it, and everyone asks us what we did or what their crops they're buying and stuff.
We have,
and at first we never knew, and we never really paid attention to that. We just noticed that it was different.
Well, honey is good, and it's like you get a big. Like for me, it's like I get one of those little squirt bottles from the grocery store. It's like in 1 week it's gone. Like the kids are just, and I was like, oh. So if you can get a big tub of it, and then you can or at least a bigger tub, and then it can actually last. It's kind of nice.
So
we tried some different containers this last year, and we're gonna not use them again.
We're not going back to the squirt bottle type. What you have, because like legit honey gets hard, right?
Not everybody knows that.
If I put a liquid honey beside the one you bought from the store, I'd even be willing to put it on a test and give you at the same time as when I harvest this year. And mine's going to go rock hard, and this one's going to stay liquid because it's not legit honey. It's there's a whole thing actually on Netflix. I watched the whole program. I found it very fascinating. But it's rice syrup. Right, so they mix it so much with rice syrup so it keeps. Right, so it still has the honey flavor. It's just not
That's so interesting because there's so many things that people don't know, right? Like about their veggies and where it's coming from. I was like, oh, look, I'm doing the right thing. And it's like it's kind of scary though, because you start going down that rabbit hole, you start asking questions, and pretty soon you're like, oh my goodness, what have I been eating all this time? But there's a lot of garbage out there.
But really, at the end of the day, if you can't read what's on the label and you can't pronounce it, or you can't really...
Yeah. Like, what is this?
Do you really is it really required for you to have to go Google every single product that you bring into your house?
Yeah.
It's kind of at that point because there's a lot of different chemicals. And I've noticed now that there's some labels are worded funny. And now they're getting around saying that it's a chemical. It's like there's some breads out there that are like non-GMO project. Okay, what does that mean?
What does it even mean? Yeah.
Right?
I know.
So you go shopping and you're like, so you're not GMO or are you GMO? And you're just saying we're
what does GMO even mean? And a lot of people just see it like they're like, oh, it's like zero fat or zero GMO or whatever. And then you're like, oh, it must be great. It's healthy for me. It's like the marketing thing. And it's like, no, you got to look deeply into what's actually going on with it, right? Yeah. Or it's like all natural. And it's like, okay, well, what does that even mean? Because everything's natural. Like all the chemicals are natural in that you can find them in nature, but then you combine them and you know, can wreak havoc. So,
it's not always good for your body too. So,
but we got the turkeys, we got the chickens. So then this year, eggs as well. We'll have broilers again this year. We'll make sure they're a little bit bigger than last year's. Learning curve, again, another learning curve to when to take them to butcher, what to feed them.
Of course, we get the really hot summer. It was plus 40 and we were
I know.
Oh my God.
So chickens and turkeys, so you can buy the whole chicken or the whole turkey. Is that how you would do it?
And they will be much bigger.
And then you will have eggs, or you do already have eggs?
We do have eggs.
We have
about 50 already laying.
Yeah, so we got lots of eggs.
We get about
I can't eat that many
3
eggs.
dozen a day.
Nice. 3 dozen. So that's a lot of work for you.
Not really.
Because you got all the chickens that you got to deal with. You got all the gardening. But I guess you have a system, right? It's not like a regular garden where you got to go weed the heck out of it.
The greenhouse is already planted. So by the time I get into the field and we're also expanding into the field. We're going to increase a lot more spacing because we see the requirements with bringing more local. Because if the gas prices keep going up a little bit, how much is getting trucked in?
We're hopping into strawberries as well this year.
We are. We've been looking. I looked at fruit here. The only thing is, we live in bear country. We're not. We had a bear get into our honey 2 years ago.
I have a bear rug now.
We are not unfamiliar with having to watch for bears. We live in the mountainous areas, so we are looking. And the thing is, if I bring in strawberries, that's just one more attractant.
Then you have to have an electric fence around or something where they sniff.
We have electric fences around the gardens to
keep the deer out also.
Yeah.
The deer found it during the winter. We do,
which is fine.
Yeah, they just ate all the leftovers for the winter, which is fine.
But also to keep the dogs, and we have dogs and cats, so we got to keep them out, right? They don't need to use it as a litter box.
yeah, that's always good. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
with fruits, it's especially an attractant too. So we are gonna do what we can and put some fencing up in that type of direction. It's about, I guess, the strategy of where to put the fruiting stuff.
Just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, like we have lots of ideas and they all sound great, but if they're too far away from the house, I don't want my kids to be too far away from the house with the wild animal aspect as well.
And we still have young kids, so I mean, we're still.
Yeah, we look
at all of that different stuff. So it's the animal life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how much do the kids do? Like what kind of stuff do they do? You said that they help you with the boxes.
They are actually very involved. One of them likes harvesting. One of them likes seed prepping, like doing all of the seeding. The other one likes doing all the planting.
So it's
the
a
other
wide
one
variety.
likes running away.
Accurate.
Yeah, that's true.
We got one that tries getting out of chores.
Right. Yeah.
I know.
There's always at least one.
We did too, probably.
Yeah.
As kids, we definitely tried getting out of chores.
They all helped me build a greenhouse, though. Without it was just us.
The 6 of us that actually built it.
Nice.
And it was during the hot times, so there was only 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night that we could even do anything, or a few hours.
So it sounds like it's it can be finicky because you're saying you zero till and you can't do it this way and you want to do it that way and you have to make sure they grow at this time and there's probably a lot of things to kind of organize, but it seems to me like you've got it figured out in your head and it doesn't seem to me like it's stressing you out.
It doesn't stress me out.
Yeah.
This part of it doesn't.
The no-till is actually really easy. In the winter or in the fall, when I was rear-rented, we had some friends come and give us a hand to prep the greenhouse for the winter round. And they discovered what the no-till was really about. And they're like, we really like tilling. And I'm like, I totally get that.
Because we have
the longevity of supporting the soil is huge for me. So really, if we support the soil, then it supports us and it nourishes us even more with more growth, with more healthy plants.
Yeah, because the idea is that you till it up and like, okay, let's just all work it up and let's get it ready. But the thing is when you start doing that, then you get rid of all these little microorganisms in there. And so you actually sort of create a problem.
And you draw.
System of the soil.
And draw up the weeds.
And draw out the weeds, yes.
And so what happens is, and this is what a lot of people, if as a kid you just watch grandma or mom rototill and then plant. So what happens is it's quite a cycle. So as you rototill all the time, that's like an 8-inch to 10-inch layer that you've just destroyed. It's not retaining the moisture. It's not retaining the nutrients. It's not retaining the bug's life that creates
killing all the worms, killing everything. Or
what happens is when you till, you're bringing up the weed seeds. So every year you have a new layer of weed seed that you just brought to the surface. So you're weeding, you're never getting ahead of. This year with weeding, we're ahead of. So
we're gonna
we use alternative methods to inoculate and wipe out all the weed seeds. And I don't till, so I don't bring all those weed seeds back up. There's still going to be weeds because what happens is with nature and with the wind, there's going to be new seeds that are dropped. However, we have other alternatives that we can use to knock those out too.
So you're not constantly tilling,
but I'm
constantly picking.
Not battling a million new in one little square
after
inch,
3
right?
years. So it takes a few years. This year gets easier.
Next year will be easier, and then the more
because you just keep picking the ones that come, and then there's fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer.
So sweet. And then with the bugs and with aerating and with the worms, they're doing all of the jobs of all of the aerating, and then my roots actually can go deeper. My soil retains more moisture, so I have less runoff. I have less watering required weekly. I have, even during the hot spell during the plus 40 last year, I think I watered an extra 10, 20 minutes, 2 times a day. That was it.
Wow.
But
I didn't water off.
What she was talking about.
And I didn't lose any. We didn't lose any.
Nope, we did good.
Excessive heat. Some bolting because it was a hot. Like lettuce, we lost lettuce too.
But for the rototilling stuff, what she was saying is, have you ever used a broad fork before?
Yeah, I think so.
It's kind of like a pitchfork, but wider.
Yeah.
Right? So you stab in the ground. You got to use your weight to basically you aerate the ground.
It's like a shovel, but it has
forks.
It's like forks.
Yeah. So it's like just a really large fork.
So what's the purpose of that? Get the weeds out?
Nope.
To aerate it so that it loosens up the ground, but you're not bringing up the weeds. You're just loosening it so that the roots have a place to go.
Right. Okay, cool. And so then you don't want to be driving the Bobcat over there. You don't want to be driving stuff over because it packs it down. And then you end up, then it's almost like you have to rototill because now it's so packed. It's like trying to plant
that's the cycle of the rototilling. We're out of it based upon the no-till because what happens is with rototilling, when you rototill, as you're rototilling, you're actually losing all of the micronutrients. You're losing all of the microorganisms. You're losing all of the ability for that soil to be supporting itself. So the more you rototill, the more compacted and compressed and hard your soil becomes. So then you rototill. There's also a speed aspect to rototilling. So I don't know, maybe have you rototill? Okay, so in the spring when you rototill, right, you're in a hurry, you're rushing, you really would like to get the rototilling right.
I'm always in a hurry.
But with rototilling, that's what happens is you look at your crop and you look at your garden space and you're looking at rototilling and you're like, oh, it's too soggy, I can't get the rototiller in. So then you're frustrated because you can't get in there with this machine. Well, I don't have to worry about the machine for us because I can get in there and I just plant.
She also doesn't have to worry about the wheelbarrow because that's my job.
That's nice. Good. Well done.
With the rototill, you wait until you have the perfect conditions. Yes. I don't have to wait for the perfect conditions. My perfect conditions is just what it is. If it's a little bit more muddy, I can still do it. I can still, because my soil's holding more moisture, I don't have to worry about all of this excessive puddles. And because my soil's not compacted and compressed by all of this excess traction, with the Bobcats and with all of the machinery and with all of the tools, the soil actually doesn't end up so hard
See, I think it's interesting.
Loamy and soft.
Because when I'm talking to you,
Lively.
I'm kind of like, there's a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like we could talk a long time about like the soils and the different types of veggies and the different types of microorganisms within the soil and how they're like their own ecosystem. And yeah, like you totally do. So if somebody wants to geek out with you, because there are some people, like I'm not quite there, you know, like I'll talk a little bit about it, but I'm not quite there. So how would they get a hold of you if they want to geek out with you a little bit and ask you questions about, hey, how do you think I should garden? And blah, blah, blah.
We have a website. It's littlegemsfarm.com. And then we have a Facebook page, Little Gems Farm. I think that's LTD. I can't remember.
Okay. So and then also if they want to order a box, same thing. They can just go and contact you there.
Yeah.
Can they order right online or do they have to contact you?
They can order online. We're having a little bit of troubles. We're trying to do what we can to keep costs down for people. So we've thought about doing online purchases where you can use your credit card and stuff. There's a lot of fees associated to that. And it's not, that's just not helping out everyday families and everybody. So we, you can order it online and then there's just some back end stuff with me that, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So to pre-order, we've been doing
we do pre-sales of the boxes.
Yeah. Just so we can know what we have to purchase, what we have to buy.
Right.
For
So if I say, okay, it's not ready yet, but I want to make sure that I'm in there, then I put my order and then you're like, oh, we've got 100 boxes and these people want this, so I'm going to need about this many seeds or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we put a deadline that a target deadline date is approximately April 15th for boxes this year, so that I have a good 4 weeks.
So get your orders in.
Yeah. So get the orders in. We are about halfway sold already.
That's what I always do. I always wait. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to be gardening, and then I wait till it's too warm.
That's a lot of us, and that's a natural thing that a lot of people do. We wait till the last minute. Yeah. So I put a deadline on of April 15th, so that I have enough time to get the boxes, to make sure that I have enough to, because we use reusable totes, and then people just get the two, and
then we just clean them out and then just rotate as much as we can.
Eco-friendly as possible.
Right.
That type of stuff. I mean, we still use plastic and we still use some things, however.
But you try to limit it as much as possible so it's not like this huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And bring costs down, right? So.
Yeah, because it can get very expensive to start getting this really, really good produce. So it's nice that you're trying to keep the cost down.
Yeah, so it's all in a lid, right? And then, so we've cleaned it all up. We package it all up as we go. We load it into the truck. She hauls it out, and away it goes. It's a whole thing. It's busy, but.
And anyone that's looking to eat better, it's good for anybody that's looking to learn and maybe open their palate of different foods. Because, I mean, it's been a long winter, so I know that a lot of us are like, anything fresh at this.
Give me something that doesn't taste like a chemical carrot. So anything else that you guys still want to say that we should know? I mean, you got the honey, you got the turkeys, you got the chickens, you got the eggs, you got all the veggies, you got fruits maybe coming into. Anything else?
Oh yeah, actually we do have the fruits coming in from a buddy of mine is possibly wanting to
We are
bring.
working with some BC suppliers for fruits.
Yeah.
And then we have a kids program this year that I've added to the boxes. We are giving away for anybody that has kids that are under the 16 and under ages. We are giving away a heritage type of pumpkin, and we're doing a pumpkin contest for the kids to encourage them to get growing and get learning and have some fun with their food and their own soil and stuff. So
whoever can grow the largest pumpkin.
We're gonna have a contest for the top 3 people that grow the biggest, the most unique shape, or that type of stuff. We're gonna have a fun contest.
Cool.
So we're growing Atlantic giant pumpkins, so they can grow up to 1,000 pounds.
So it's like you got an elephant
So
in your
I'll
garden.
start the seeds and I'll deliver them with the boxes the 1 week when they're ready to go in the ground, and then we're gonna have a fun little.
Sweet.
And then
we're gonna have kids portion to the boxes, because really this is about supporting and teaching the future generations about growing. And
I think it's so important because so many kids now, well, I mean, even adults,
kids out there
they have no idea. They don't know where their food comes from. Yeah. They don't know anything about gardening. They're just like, well, don't you just go to the grocery and put it in your cart? It's like, no, but how did it get there? Same with eggs, same with anything.
If you actually look at how grocery stores got to be, it's quite a fascinating story.
And our kids all know how to do the gardening right to the canning. Right, so we can every year. So then that's a whole nother thing.
Wow, yeah, you guys have a lot going on.
I'm a prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
You like to have all your food So if we're all starving, we just come into your place, or
Right?
We have food storage probably for about 2 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'll bring me and my kids, and we'll be like, okay, guys.
We have water food storage. We have
It's amazing.
literally at all of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's so cool. Yeah. Good. Well, thanks you guys for sharing. It was really nice to chat with you. Thanks for being
Thanks for
here.
having us.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you for tuning into the podcast today. I absolutely love that you joined us. I love being able to record these, and I love our guests. It's been so much fun. So thank you. Please like it, share it, comment, do all of the things that you feel like you want to do if you enjoyed this podcast. I really, really appreciate that. And this podcast has been brought to you by my company, Power Fitness Online. So everything that we do locally with our workouts, with our group nutrition coaching, and with all of the other fun events and stuff that we run, we put all of that online. So now you can access everything, even if you're not locally, don't live in our area. So my coaches and I and all my staff, the whole team, we are putting so much work into these workouts. We're filming 5 fresh workouts every single week so that you never have to do the same workout twice. We're also doing group nutrition and personal nutrition coaching so that you get exactly what you need. And you know what the best part is? It's the community. The absolute best part is just knowing that you have the support, that you have the encouragement, that you have everything you need to succeed. So go to powerfitnessonline.com.